Unfortunately, I wouldn't know a thing. After all, I just arrived here with you.
I know, but should you meet someone like that on your journey, tell him Aliena of Shiring is looking for him.
All right? Jack Jackson. I'll keep an eye out for you.
Thank you. Have a safe journey.
Oh, thank you. You too.
A stall, another stall. They're bargaining for passage. Doing business with the English must pay. Stall. They're selling fish and whatever cargo they can get their hands on. Oh, not Jack. For a moment I thought, but it's not him. Ah, he has red hair. Coachwoman. Appears to be her coach. She must know her way around France. We can interact with not Jack.
Good day. I am looking for someone. A traveler who came through here last summer. Oh, hush now. I need to talk to this man.
Looks young.
He was born at the beginning of summer.
What's his name?
I haven't given him one yet.
You should. He needs to know who he is. Makes growing up a lot easier. You said you're looking for someone.
I'm looking for the boy's father.
And from the look of your baby, I reckon his father has red hair like me, right? Well, I don't know every redhead around these parts. There are quite a few of us. Most of my family here in Cherbourg is ginger.
Oh, his name is Jack Jackson, and he is a mason.
No. No, sorry. I haven't seen him. And I come here every day. Maybe May saw him. She helps the sailors get their cargo to the nearby towns. Carries travelers, too.
I'll ask her. Well, thank you.
Hey, you. That's quite a bundle you got there. Where are you headed?
Have you seen a red-haired mason? You must have landed here sometime late last summer.
Another ginger in Normandy? I wouldn't have noticed, even if he was carrying a hammer instead of a fishing rod. Maybe you should ask someone in Barfleur. That's where all the travellers come through, the pilgrims and kings. Their lot rarely lands in Cherbourg, with the fortress passing back and forth between Stephen of Blois and Geoffrey of Anjou. Why you even came to Cherbourg in the first place baffles me.
It was the earliest ship I could get.
You must be in some hurry, madam.
Let's just say I needed to get away before I changed my mind.
Fine with me. Who am I to judge?
What other routes are there, besides going through Barfleur?
Oh, I don't know, really. You need to ask the locals about that. But Barfleur sounds like a good place to start. Shake my hand and I'll take you there. Travelling by coach is a lot less strenuous than walking. Your little worm deserves some warmth and a rocking carriage.
Well, she makes a good point, but we're just not ready to make a commitment yet. Although it does seem like we won't be able to do anything else.
Apart from Barfleur, what other ports do people commonly use to get into France?
Apart from Barfleur? Well, there's Harfleur. Sometimes people even go through Honfleur, which is close by. You could ask May to take you.
I might. Thank you for your help. I'm afraid I can't help it. You really are quite like him.
Maybe I should become a mason then. Would definitely pay more than being a fisherman. Have a safe journey.
The harbours of Normandy. Barfleur is one of the chief ports of embarkation for England, and it's important for Normandy's ship construction. It's the most popular harbour for the voyages of rulers and royalty on their way to or from England. Harfleur is another prominent seaport, which used to be the principal port of the ancient Khalids. In old times, a Roman road led from Harfleur directly to Troyes. Honfleur is another small port not far away from Harfleur. Cherbourg is a fishing town, but has recently become the center of political conflict. In their effort to win the ongoing wars, Stephen of England and Geoffrey of Anjou, the Norman husband of Empress Maud, have fought more than once to each claim Cherbourg as its harbor for their side.
I really should stay away from boats. I'm still all to and fro on the inside.
Do many masons go to Lessay?
The mason who told me it's like...
I left my old life as well.
scary, isn't it? To start off fresh and all that.
Well, you definitely sound more excited than scared.
Oh, I am excited. Wouldn't anyone be?
I don't know. Maybe.
So we have to make a decision now. Alright, so the option that he went to Lessay is a long shot, because just a small village of many, I assume. Where if we go to the most common ports, the odds that we find some, like, it's much more likely that he passed to one of those ports. So I think I'm gonna go with the Harfleur option.
Changed your mind, madam? You know, I reserved a cozy spot just for you.
All right. Take me out of town.
All right. Where do you need to be?
Alright, we get... Oh, Lessay is also at the coast. Alright, so this is the main port into France. I suspect that that means that we are the most likely to find him there. Well, at least find out whether or not he passed through there.
We went to Barfleur, a scenic port town built on granite. It was the biggest harbour in Normandy and the main entry point for the Normans to their new possession of the Isle of England. I talked to some of the sailors and fishermen, but no one had remembered seeing Jack. How could they? Almost a year had passed since he, a simple mason, had journeyed through the busy town, a town with no memory other than that of the last king who passed through on yet another one of his violent conquests. Maybe I was approaching this the wrong way. What had drawn him to France in the first place? The distance to Kingsbridge? Or something specific? What was my lead?
Jack was Jackson. So he's looking for his father. But do we know his father? What do we know about him? He was a jongleur, which means that, well, an abbey is not the likely place where he'd found work.
I arrived in Harfleur and finally got a lead. In an inn, a man remembered a red-haired Englishman who had planned to head past Lessay to the Mont Saint-Michel.
Lessay was a good lead.
I thanked him and was about to leave when a group of pilgrims asked me over to their table. They told me that they too were heading for Mont Saint-Michel, and although they had no intentions to stop in Lessay, I knew that joining a group would be a lot safer than traveling alone.
Travel alone to the Abbey in Lessay, or follow the pilgrims to Mont Saint-Michel. Well, they did say he was traveling through Lessay to Mont Saint-Michel. So let's follow the pilgrims.
My father had once told me tales of the Mont Saint-Michel. Long ago, the Archangel Michael had urged Hubert of Avranches to build an abbey on a lonely rock on the ocean by burning a hole into his head. They say one can go and see his penetrated skull on display in the church of his hometown. It was a windy day when I arrived, and the place was crowded with pilgrims and jongleurs. I remembered Jack's fascination with these tellers of stories. I spoke to one who was just taking a break. As it happened, he had indeed met Jack, although not in Mont Saint-Michel, but on a road heading east from there. Apparently, Jack had been hopelessly tracking jongleur who might have known his father, Jack Cherbourg. But as he'd been gradually running out of money, he'd intended to look for work in Le Mans or Tours. That was about 6 months ago. I was catching up.
Le Mans or Tours? Well, we don't know anything except that it's a gamble. But if it's like, how should I put this? If it's you go to Tours first and then it turns out he's not there, and it's in Le Mans, we go in a triangle. Or if we go to Le Mans and then to Tours, we go more in a straight line. So let's start with Le Mans.
Going to Le Mans reminded me of all the trouble I'd left behind in England. 30 years ago, Le Mans had been conquered by the Plantagenet Geoffrey of Anjou, Maud's husband. And although they'd held it ever since, other noble families kept on pulling at the city, like Maud and Stephen tearing at England. There was no sign of Jack, but I got news of a new kind of cathedral being built in Saint-Denis, just north of Paris. It was possible that Jack had gone there to learn from the craftsmen. That was, if he hadn't travelled further south, looking for work in one of the many churches in Tours, the hometown of Saint-Martin.
Let's exhaust this lead, the previous lead first. Okay, so either this is a fake out or this is the place. Statue of Mother Mary. You and me know both. Being a mother is not easy. Both know. Whew. Seems self-assured, a bit anger on his lip though. Well, anger likely means that Jack's been here and been fucking up. Church design, like the ones Tom used to make back in Kingsbridge. Everything feels so far away now.
Good day. Are you the master builder?
What is it?
I'm looking for a mason who may have passed through here. An Englishman with carroty hair. He calls himself Jack Jackson.
A redhead?
Yes. Did you see him? He might have asked for work here.
No, I'm not looking for new masons. We're just doing repairs.
Ah, but was he here?
No, never seen him. Now, stand back, woman. Something could fall on your baby's head.
Are there other construction sites around Tours?
Well, yes, it's a big town.
And where would an outsider most likely find a job?
Dunno. Ask around.
You hesitated when I mentioned a redhead. Are you sure you haven't seen him?
Yes, I am sure.
I was told he wanted to come here.
Or maybe he changed his mind.
Are you sure you haven't seen him?
I am. All right, he was here. Was working for me. But I had to throw him out after 2 or 3 days.
Why?
Because he was all want. Let me redesign the roof, let me make the nave lighter. All pretty ideas, but he never shut up long enough to do the work he was supposed to do. Shit, that man was almost as needy as my son when he was still a brat.
He does know a lot about his craft.
Well, I know masons like him. They grow up gifted, but without a mote of discipline in their guts. Can't work with someone like that.
Do you know where he went next?
No idea. Maybe to Limoges or Angoulême. Maybe even to La Rochelle. Seemed to have plans for every cathedral on God's green earth, but none for himself.
I understand. I'll leave you to it then.
Bon voyage.
I see. Alright, a flourishing artistic center. That seems like where some jongleurs might also go. Another cathedral. Let's go to the artistic center first.
We had just left Tours when I suddenly felt dizzy. I stopped and made rest, trying to catch my breath, then lost my breakfast in a ditch at the side of the road. To my horror, our baby too had grown pale, his breath shallow like that of an old man. I tried not to panic, but the next inn was a long distance away and we couldn't stay on the road where it was wet and cold.
Head back and rest or make it to Pontier. Well, starting to sound sickly, so probably double back.
Back in Tours, the fever got worse. I remember people carrying me into a room, laying me on a bed. I tried to feed my baby, but after that everything turned into a blur. When I awoke, Jack was standing next to my bed. He scolded me for following him. "You know you could go anywhere you want," he whispered. "Why be stupid and follow me?" I tried to answer, but he just opened the window and jumped out, heading toward ancient Greece, or maybe all the way to Arabia. And in my feverish mind, I followed him.
I mean, this is a fever dream.
The further I went, the angrier I got. For years, I'd been fighting for my family. I'd committed myself to an oath to my father. I'd built up a business to sustain it and even married a man I despised so I could create a future for the people around me.
Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it?
I'd known nothing but my duty to the men in my life, while the man I was trying to find lived a life of casual irresponsibility. He traveled the world on a whim to learn about mathematics and philosophy, while I had to raise the child he'd fathered. When could I ever do anything just for myself? I asked the world as I went on. travelled in a circle all the way to the edge of the world and back, only to return to the place of our failure. With my eyes closed, I listened to the sound of ripping yarn and crumbling walls, and of coaches carrying good people away into a cloud of crimson dust. When the last moat had settled, I opened my eyes again and found myself in a dirty little room. An old maid was sitting next to my bed and smiled at me, then handed me my baby. Oh, dear God, he still looked so pale. I tried to feed him, but he refused. Oh, please, God, let him live. Don't punish him for my own sins. I gently caressed his head until finally he put his mouth to my breast and drank more and more, becoming greedier with every swallow. We had both been spared. We rested one more day. Then I gathered my things and headed back to the cathedral to thank the Lord for his mercy.
Pointy arch. Aren't they usually round? Never seen them like this.
I thank you, dear Lord.
All right, steady
I
now.
thank you for having spared my child. I thank you for...
Don't let go until it's done.
But why are you showing mercy on me? I failed everyone I cared about. I failed Jack. I failed my brother. And if I never return, I would also break the oath I had given Father. It's just that I feel like I've never had a life of my own. I've always fought for others. And this may be the very first time that I fight for something that I only want for myself. Maybe I should just go back and help rebuild Kingsbridge. Maybe Jack doesn't even care for me anymore. Amen. Huh.
Is this?
I've seen one of those before.
It's amazing, isn't it? The man who did that really had it in him.
Had what in him?
The spirit of a true Mason. It's a shame that the Master let him go. In just 1 month, he did so many things.
The Master Builder said he'd fired him after just 3 days.
Did he? Well, maybe that's how he remembers it. The two didn't really see eye to eye, you know? To tell you the truth, everyone thinks that he feared for his own job, having someone like that around. The last thing Jack did was carve that corbel. It was the one thing the Master let him do. Then when he was done, he was asked to leave.
Your master said he had no discipline.
Let me tell you something. Jacques worked very hard on it. He was impatient and had a temper, but you could see that he tried to overcome it. Conquering that rock was very important to him.
Oh, I understand that so well. Do you happen to know where he went next?
He wanted to walk the pilgrim trail to Santiago de Compostela.
The Camino? The Way of St. James?
He said he might find someone there who knew his father.
Just one more thing. How was he when he left?
Never thought about that. Relieved, I guess. He seemed ready for something new.
Thank you so much for your help.
Think nothing of it. And good luck on your travels. May you find what you are looking for.
Isn't it odd? Just when you stop looking, you come across the most curious of things. Like these 3 devices that one of my merchants brought back from Baghdad.
Oh no. Is it another one of your Banu Musa toys, Rashid?
They're not toys, Adriel. They're objects of scholarly ingenuity and reflection.
I will let my valued friend from the north do the honors. Jack, if you may.
Donkey device. One of Rashid's new toys. It's from a country far east of here. It runs with water alone.
Magnificent songbird.
Rashid and his friends, a Jew, a Muslim, and a converted Christian. Yet their quarrels are always playful, full of wisdom and curiosity. Statue of a lady, plain wood with stone eyes, with no mechanism or machinery. No one knows how she works. Small container. It's fitted perfectly for the device. Can be easily removed. Usually holds water.
One thing at a time.
Candle. A wick dipped in tallow and wrapped in wax. This too must have been a clever invention once. How easy it is to lose one's sense of awe. Now that I can relate with. Songbird device. A new device. This one works like with steam. Pure ingenuity. Songbird device. Oh, we already did that one. And then we have a bowl of water. Water to cool off in the afternoon. Too heavy to carry around. Alright, let's start with
He likes to take his time, doesn't he?
let's start with the statue.
On second thought, why don't you save the lady for last? Otherwise, the other 2 devices might appear bland and boring in comparison.
I agree.
What is he doing now?
Not much, I suppose.
And now?
Now, Jack will heat the water in the tank.
Ranchit must never know I burned down a cathedral.
It's so beautiful it will make you cry. Just listen.
The Banu Musa. The Banu Musa brothers were 3 scholars of Persian descent who lived in Baghdad in the 9th century. They are known for the Book of Ingenious Devices, a large illustrated collection of mechanical appliances and automata. Those automata were largely designed for entertainment, but featured innovative engineering. The brothers also wrote books on astronomy, astrology, geometry, the last of which had great influence on both Islamic and European mathematicians.
How marvelous!
How does it work?
Maybe it's a miracle.
Right.
Look.
Go on, Jack. Tell them.
There's a hidden wheel inside the box. It turns an axle that in return raises and drops a sequence of small cylinders inside. These cylinders work like fingers playing a flute.
But who is blowing into the flute?
Steam.
Steam?
Yes. When I opened the pipe, it gradually pushed itself into the tube.
The power of steam. For once, I must agree. This is brilliant.
Of course! It was created by a Muslim after all.
Careful that it doesn't explode.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What else have you got, Rashid?
Anyone care for some tea?
Thank you, my daughter. We will have some as soon as Jack has finished our presentation.
Mind if I watch?
Of course not.